We now know what caused the Givaudan plant explosion a week ago today.
Yeah, authorities say it was an accident involving a failed pressure cooker tank.
We were able to definitively say that cooking vessel number 6 failed, and that led to a catastrophic event. There's some indication that the vessel did not vent properly, and that caused an overheating and explosion, overpressurization, if you will.
Louisville Fire and the ATF said there is some indication there had been maintenance issues with that particular tank, but they still believe this was an accident. Investigators say they've wrapped up the first phase of the investigation into the blast, but a final report will take several months.
Frustrations after that blast are still being felt by a lot of people that live in Clifton.
Yeah, so we've got Jim Stratman here with a look at more on that. They were able to meet, people living in the area were able to meet face to face last night and share some of those frustrations.
And they certainly did. I mean, there was a lot of emotion in that room, and a lot of it was directed at the Givaudan officials who were there. It seemed pretty clear that the people from Clifton who showed up to that meeting had a message for Givaudan, and that was, we don't want you in our neighborhood. Plant officials admitted that they're actually exploring options to move out of Clifton at this point. And as you heard there, that update met with an enthusiastic round of applause at the meeting, though the cheers didn't last for some of the other answers that Givaudan officials provided. Residents have a lot of concerns, like who's going to pay for the damage, who's taking care of temporary housing, and why is the hotline set up to help not getting back to us.
There's some disconnect between what the message is in your third party and what you're telling us today, and that is not pretty.
There's a good number of folks who have already been contacted. If you haven't, you should be contacted in the next, I would say, day or two.
Plenty of people in Clifton feel like the company's response just has not been adequate, and you can really hear that frustration start to come out in this exchange between a resident and Givaudan president Ann Leonard.
We haven't heard anything from you guys.
We're homeless. Have you called yet? Do we have your information?
Givaudan has said that it will cover the cost of home repairs and has hired engineers to assess damage to the homes in the area. Officials are also scheduling one-on-one sessions with those who still have questions. I'll have more on how they're planning to actually make those meetings happen coming up here in the next half hour. Eric, Grace.
Jim, thank you. We're learning more about one of the victims, the employee who was still under the debris after everyone was originally reportedly accounted for. The family of 49-year-old Kevin Katie Dawson were emotional yesterday as they, along with their attorneys, demanded accountability.
He's an Army man. He believes in no man left behind. Why would you leave him? Why would you leave him behind? They just left him.
My whole life, my father worked 12-hour shifts every day.
The family says the day of the explosion, they spent hours looking for Dawson, going to area hospitals. They eventually came back to the scene where his body would finally be found in the rubble. The family now wants answers about the maintenance and inspection history of the equipment. They've hired prominent attorneys Ben Crump and Louisville's Lenita Baker. Dawson was an employee at Givaudan for a year and would have celebrated his 50th birthday last Sunday. Right now, his family has not finalized funeral details, but hope to have a service before Thanksgiving. Now, this isn't the first time the plant in Clifton has exploded. A similar incident happened 20 years ago, the same location. You can read more about that on our website under the local news tab.
5 minutes after 6 now, the man charged in a shooting near a Russell neighborhood gas station will appear in court for the first time today. Metro Police arrested 45-year-old Broderick Clarkson yesterday. He's charged with assault and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The LMPD says that shooting happened on November 8th in the parking lot outside of Dino's Food Mart on West Broadway. Officers found a man with a gunshot to his head. That man was taken to a local hospital, and police have not provided an update on his condition. Clarkson is in Metro Corrections on a $100,000 bond. He's due in court at 9.
This morning, a Louisville football player is facing domestic violence charges. Defensive back Tayon Holloway has been charged with felony strangulation and assault. The incident happened Sunday night at the Province, about a mile from UofL's campus. An arrest citation says campus police showed up to the apartment after someone called 911 and hung up. The citation says Holloway began punching a woman in the face after she tried to stop him from smoking marijuana. He's also accused of attempting to suffocate her with a pillow. Holloway is a sophomore and has appeared in every game this season. In a statement, the university said he's been suspended indefinitely from all team activities. Holloway is due back in court next Tuesday.
Today, we will learn more about the 4 people arrested in connection to the Harvest Homecoming shooting. New Albany police will join the county prosecutor at 1:30 to give us more details. The 4 were arrested after 6 raids were conducted across Louisville, Jeffersonville, and New Albany. 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach was killed and 2 others were injured in the shooting back in October. You can watch today's announcement live on the WHAS11 app.
The former Louisville police detective convicted of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights wants a new trial. Brett Hankison's attorneys accused the Department of Justice of engaging in prosecutorial misconduct during his federal trial in late October. They also claimed the DOJ misled jurors about facts during closing arguments. Hankison was accused of violating the civil rights of Taylor and her neighbors after he fired 10 shots into her apartment. The jury found him not guilty of violating the rights of the neighbors. He's set to be sentenced in March for the conviction on the charge relating to Taylor.